So being shy almost ruined my life. And here's how I eventually overcame that. If you're anything like me, and I have a feeling you might be, then you were a kind of quiet, awkward kid, maybe a little creative, wanted to do something with your life, but also didn't like confrontation or being the center of attention. Maybe you still feel that way now. When I was younger, I was very into art, I was into cartoons, and I was into video games. And as I got older, I had other interests that kind of ebbed and flowed in my life, but a lot of those things remained pretty consistent. When I was younger, however, I had a big issue with feeling like the outcast, the loner, or the other. Even though I had friends and friends I would consider close friends, best friends at the time, I still always felt a little off, a little different, and a lot of things were difficult for me as a result. Among those things was being the center of attention, being able to give presentations in class, being able to stand up for what I believed or ask for what I wanted. Luckily, I was creative enough to kind of make my way through school and through life afterwards and find myself in very fortunate positions I was blessed to be in terms of my personal life and my professional career. And as life changed, my focus has changed too. I was no longer as focused on cartoons or video games. I was trying to be creative in other ways, like making music or making videos. But I was always the guy behind the camera. The guy writing the script, the guy who was researching and finding SEO optimization, maybe recording background footage or B-roll, but never in front of the camera. I had a passion for music and I really enjoyed writing songs, and I even practiced with a few bands, but for a long time it was just that, practice. Small group sessions in somebody's basement away from prying eyes. And I know a lot of that sounds oxymoronical, right? Like, how can you want to be in videos but not want to be in videos? Or you want to make music but you don't want to be on stage. This all kind of came to a head in high school when I was about halfway through and realized that a lot of my friends were kind of similar to me, but they were all older and had graduated. I didn't really have that same friend group around me to support me, and I had a choice. I could either sit and be miserable for the next 2 years of my life and probably thereafter, or I could try and make a change. I could try and adapt and try something different. I'll never forget that as one of my friends who was a senior was about to graduate, he told me that he really thought that I was a funny person, that I was charismatic, that I knew how to talk to people. But right now, it was so limited. It was so trapped in that small space by my shyness, my comfort zone. I'll never forget that when he graduated and I went to go say my last goodbye to him before he went off to college, he said, "I really want to challenge you. I really want to challenge you to step out of your shell. Do something that you're not comfortable with. Find a path that scares you and just start walking it." So that's what I did. When we had assignments in class that would require someone to read aloud, before I even really knew it, I found myself volunteering to do so. When the audition for the fall play at school came around, without really thinking, I found myself signing up for an audition slot. When our local coffee shop was putting on a talent show, I found myself packing my acoustic guitar and showing up to play a set. These are all things that I never would have thought I would have done. And I won't sit here and lie to you and say that they all went perfectly. They were incredibly awkward. But before I knew it, I was more comfortable playing those songs in front of people. I was more comfortable being the lead in a play. I was more comfortable reciting Shakespeare in front of large groups of people. And when I went off to college, I found that I had a whole new skill set that allowed me to kind of navigate things a little better than I really would have if I'm being honest with myself. I continued to expand my horizons and push my limits by challenging myself to step out of my comfort zone, communicate with people, really sit and listen with them, and get comfortable talking in front of large groups. Groups that really would have terrified me in the previous life. 100 people, 500 people, 1,000 people. And after college, I had enough confidence to decide to move to the big city by myself. I had a friend of a friend that had a spot open up in his apartment, and I was able to live with him. So I wasn't completely by myself, but this was forging a new relationship. This was finding a new career. And this was allowing myself to once again follow my passions, be creative, and do things that scared me. It started small with me writing scripts for YouTube videos again, just like I did in high school, brushing up on my editing skills, working on recording B-roll and color grading and all the fun things behind the scenes. And eventually the channel I was working for needed somebody to step in when one of the hosts could not narrate a video. And I had the confidence to offer my services. As a result, I became a regular on that channel. And through that channel, I got multiple other jobs narrating other videos, acting in skits, putting together my own reviews. All opportunities I wouldn't have if I just settled on being comfortable, if I just really nestled down into that shyness. I still consider myself an introvert to this day. I enjoy spending time at home. I enjoy a quiet night in with my family. But when needed, I can go out and present in front of thousands of people. I can talk confidently about things that I know and things I am passionate about. I can be on live streams answering questions in real time to thousands of people. And I have the confidence to be able to plan a nice vacation or night out and navigate a city I am unfamiliar with while taking my wife out on a night on the town. This is before we even factor in how this affected my career. I was able to be confident enough to get a sales job in a field I had never worked in before. I had the drive to be able to outbound call to customers and follow up on sales when some of my friends and coworkers didn't feel as comfortable. And when I realized I was kind of plateauing in my ability to increase my own skills by myself, I took time away from fielding clients, gaining money, to sit with the guys who were performing well. The men and women who had been doing this for years, who had their formula for sales and success down to a T. I sat with them, picked their brains, listened to how they phrased things, how they asked questions, how they engaged their clients, and brought that success back to my own calls. As a result, I ended up becoming a supervisor and sales manager faster than anybody in that company's history. I was able to start multiple YouTube channels that were each very successful in their own way, whether that's financially or just allowing me to have a creative outlet. Probably most importantly of all, I was able to take my life back. I was able to give myself and my family the life that I wanted for us and was no longer a victim of circumstance. I thought by tackling my shyness head on, I would make myself so uncomfortable that my life would suffer. But in reality, in hindsight, I realized that if I didn't do this, that would have been true hell. I would have been a prisoner in my own body, unable to navigate my own life. If you struggle with shyness, if you lack confidence, please consider this your call to action. Do what you can to expand your horizons and tackle that shyness head on. It won't be comfortable. It won't be fun all of the time. It will be awkward. And it will probably even be a little cringe at times, but that is how you learn, that is how you grow, and ultimately, at the end of the day, that is how you succeed. This is what I did, and this is what I want for you. So know that I am rooting for you, and I want you to lead the life you deserve. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to eat well, stay hydrated, take care of yourself and those around you. And I'll see you in the next one, friends.